let's go back to Rookie Harbor, which is actually quite convenient because I don't think I'm going to be going any farther west from here. Well, unless the new thing being introduced is waterproofing for avatars, which would imply that I was going to swim there. I have been on a boat before. Anyway, hey guys. Oh yes, Leah was out for 3 days, or I think that was it. Yeah, that was where I had the dream that found out that Sergei was apparently a member of the evil, shadowy group. Or, I think they're evil. It's shadowy. They're certainly shadowy. Yeah, we've had a lot of information doled out on the meta plot so far, but not really enough to figure out anything. It's been slow, is what I'm saying. Ah, well. You now have access to the northern part of Rookie Harbor, too, which is something that I was wondering about back in the second episode and thought that that might happen as soon as I found out that they were going to be jumping days and weeks at a time, getting some in-game patches added. I mean, not patches for CrossCode, that's still coming, but diegetically. Oh, and also, speaking of things that I was speculating on, raids. Yeah, that's a good question, because we're not max level yet. I mean, I know I've been away for 3 days, but that is a classic MMO problem. Well, okay, there you go. It's like, hey guys, we're supposed to be playing this together, and now you're 10 levels higher than me. I was gone for the weekend. What did you do? Now, usually I'm on the other side of that, but... Anyway, raid, sure. Yeah, see, this is also the problem. Can't even do the quest anymore. Autumn's Fall. Did see a lot of that earlier when looked at some of the vendors, and they were selling items that were level 35 or so, which I am right now. And a glowing bird statue, as you do. I could probably get some more dialogue, but let's go solo again. Much like Bergen Trail. Why not? Yes, I mean, the surprise was already spoiled when I, did this as a test to make sure that I knew what I was doing before coming into this episode, but that's fine. I guess I probably should have partnered up with him, for the sake of the whole LP type of deal, if nothing else. Oh well, too late now. I'm not going to spend too much time up here, just kind of check out the lay of the land, because it is mostly going to be more for quests and the like. I mean, for example, the Coastal Trading Coalition, you remember Mr. Nomsworth from the very first set of quests back in Autumn's Rise that I did. Made reference to this. Does seem like they might be... Maybe this is something that's not just level 30, but going to be expanding slowly over time. I guess I'll have to check it out. Alright, Men in Black, you just go back to being a Galaxy Defender. I wasn't going to stick around here for too long anyway. Talatu Lips apparently lives here. Not that that really matters, because I've only ever seen her in the field. Alright, well, yeah, that's the basics. Probably, like I said, be back here for quests in the future. Right now, let's go check out Autumn's Fall. Which is, as the name would imply, a similar to Autumn's Rise, but it has some little tricks up its sleeve. It has some new stuff, even though it is going to be... Oh. Even though it is going to be mostly a lot of asset reusage. I'm not going to mince words on that, but there are stuff like, ruins, for example, or the weird bird statue that I'll be seeing soon enough. Ah, should have been leveling up with me. Could have seen what was behind these crates, rather than waiting to see that there was not really too much of interest up here. Maybe when I'm doing, definitely when I'm doing some of the chests, I'll have more of a reason to come up here. But for right now, talking to people and how they love the sites is pretty much it. All right. I got the shade. Let's get out of here. Yeah, I was thinking that there's not really a whole lot of dudes to be selling you stuff for this level, but I guess that's because they were going to open up something pretty soon. Hey, I got the animation this time. Autumn's Fall. Like I said, it's similar but different. I mean, you can immediately tell in the flora, for example. While Autumn's Rise just has a lot of pure orange plants, Autumn's Fall has stuff with blue energy inside. I mean, even some of the items that you're getting are similar. Here's where you get like the wolf cicada. Here's where you're getting not seasoned apples, but ripe apples, parched leaves, Shadow the Hedgehog. The hedgehogs are just Shadow. They're Shadow from Sonic Adventure 2, which is ridiculous. I mean, I guess I can't say I didn't see that coming, but it's still. I mean, for the record, we got Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and Sonic, which is just lovely. Also, somebody did point out last time, you can just analyze these guys to find out what their various resistances are even before you have them in the fibula. So probably do want to do that. They're called radical hedgehogs. Come on. Should be called shadow hedgehogs, let's be honest. But yeah. Especially now that I have two different types of elements, I probably should be looking at this a lot more. Wait, no. Well, I screwed it up anyway. My incredible luck when it comes to bank shots has done me in once again. Also, laser bridges. I would say that Emily would be pretty happy about that, but kind of refused her help on the whole subject. Oh well, it is nice to be coming back to a place that I can recognize with the Sonic references and the many cows and goofy looking nonsense flowers. Still don't really know what to make of that. White cows with blue stripes on them. Virtual cows, you understand. Oh well, gotta go find that statue soon enough. This is also the point in time that enemies are starting to become like kind of rough and tough. You can't really just... Let's just keep doing this. Can't really just go in and fight every enemy, get S ranks trivially as you could before. And really, probably shouldn't be fighting dudes as much as I am right now. Especially the Hillcats, for example, which are the bane of my existence back in Autumn's Rise and are even more so now. Now that I can't just blast them with ice over and over. Chillin' Hillcats. Now, I did just say I should stop fighting every enemy that I come across, and then I immediately started fighting every enemy I've come across so far. Well, you know, I don't really have anything else aside from that observation. I'll stop fighting them after this point. I'll use my Dead Cells training to refuse to fight enemies and anger people on the internet. I still get guff about that, by the way. Like, you don't want to put yourself at risk. I'm telling you, it's a good strategy. And you're shooting yourself in the foot by trying to fight everything. Also making the runs really, really long. Well, why did it go to... Now, here's a question. Why did it go to fire? This is because I accidentally hit my mouse wheel. Oh, well, here. How about this? With all the extra SP, I can just level 3 this guy. I don't have level 3 unlocked. Oh, wow. I am all kinds of off the ball today now, aren't I? Oh, well, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Yeah, they got the same kind of abilities as the Furious or Sick. No. Wait. Now I'm just entirely out of time. I'm fairly certain, one, I called Autumn's Rise, Autumn Fall like 5 times, and also, like, I haven't switched up the circuits, and I'm forgetting what quests are done when. Anyway, here's not really what I'm worried about. No, I want to go up. Yeah, Spiral Dance. Here we go. Spin Dance, Spiral Dance. There. That's what I need. Also, a little bit more of this if I possibly could, but it doesn't really look like it. Like it's going to happen right now. And I do tend to go for melee attacks more than not. All right. I don't want to spend too much time screwing around in the circuit board right now. Now, we got plenty of stuff to do. In fact, let's forget about exploring around right now and instead try to just go find that statue. Also can see a whole lot of the ruins around here. And a little bit more of a puzzle focus compared to some of the other areas. Or at least mandatory puzzles to move around in each one of the parts you're going to be encountering. Because previously, it was mostly that puzzles were limited to dungeons or trying to get a bunch of the chests. Here, just opening up areas requires that. And yeah, I don't want to fight things. I mean, speaking of dungeons, I mean, it's not just the puzzles. Yeah, this is definitely where I'm going. It's not just the puzzles, but the enemies themselves are a lot more rough and tough to fight compared to anything that I've fought outside of the dungeon so far. I don't know, man. I'm not really seeing too much for prosperity. I'm seeing a lot of walls. Yep. Another big difference from Autumn's Rise. I'm going to constantly confuse the two over the course of this episode. Please bear with me. Please wait warmly. But you also have an actual quest, which, I mean, I'm of course I'm going to accept because it's the green seed shade right there. A lot more structured. It's not just going through here. I gotta go fight this guy. Well, fight. I've got to go follow this guy. I've got to go be endlessly frustrated by the paths that this thing is taking. Yeah, when I was saying it's like, hey, it doesn't really matter to do a whole lot of exploration right now, it's because this rabbit is going to be leading me around here. Get some of those good bank shots going on here again. Aiming your way through doors, using the walls as platforming. The ruins are an important part of this entire section, and it's kind of a unique identity. And I said before that I like it when things are economical. No, let's not open up the chest right now. That'll be later, as always. I do like it when things are economical in how assets are used, because this is similar to Autumn's Rise, but it also has its own stuff going on, which I always love seeing. It's like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to the assets of the game. And, well, of course, CrossCode has already given me a lot in terms of content so far, and does not seem to be letting up at all, but... Hey, strength puzzle, by the way. Yeah, I always point it out. But, yeah, I mean, getting even more on top of that. Okay, I should stop getting distracted. This is something for later. One of the quests, one of the other areas I need to get to, maybe a combination of all three? Well, I won't say. Was that the wrong way to do the strength puzzle? Yes. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I've done enough parkour to know how this whole thing goes. You're not fooling me, Frobbit. I mean, speaking of which, though, I haven't seen the parkour guy for quite a while. I mean, there were a couple of the quests that I did do kind of off-screen that I'm going to have to show in this episode that I did miss. For example, Henry's whole deal. I kind of talked about, what was it, back in Bergen Trail, that it's like, oh man, I nearly forgot to do this for this guy. I feel kind of bad. And then I completely forgot this time. But no, I did do it. I did do it, and I do have the footage to prove it. It's just, put that in the appropriate part of the episode. Didn't appear here, though. I don't know, maybe maybe getting the readings from Autumn's Rise will also count for fall. Maybe? I don't know, it's still not really clear exactly what he's supposed to be doing, because he's not an NPC. I think he wants me to think he's an NPC, but he's clearly not an NPC. Yeah. And I also did actually look at some of his dialogue. One of the things that I've been missing with that guy... you know what, I'll get to it when I get to it. Anyway, right now, I'm defeating my most dangerous enemy yet, the Frobbit. Oh, first off. Yeah, I mean, you'd think. I do. I've heard a little bit about this before, and those mysterious logs that I've been collecting seem to... We're referencing it a bit too, or at least like sites of where the war happened. Like 1,000 years in the past. Back when there were space wars going on, and people knew the difference between dungeons and raids. Hey, don't call the Frobbit stupid. It's... Sure, it's being a little obnoxious, but it's just doing its job, man. Come on. I will say this, though. This is maybe the first time in quite a while they've had, like, a proper enemy. And I don't mean, like, what... In the game, we've had the blue avatar, for example. Oh, he hasn't appeared in quite a while. Come on, get in there. Like, maybe bank shot? Maybe bank shot? There we go. But, like, there's... In Cross Worlds, the game, hasn't really been too much for, like, actual enemies. It's just been following around on the track and everything. You know, the Path of the Ancients and all that. As far as, like, actual foes, I mean, how does a raid even work? It's not like we've found any sort of resistance to exploring the track aside from the stuff the track itself creates in game lore. I don't know, it's still a weirdly conflictless game so far in CrossCode entirely, which is sort of surprising in some ways, but also, I've said before, it's like kind of refreshing. But still, a hologram rabbit, which is not even an enemy that appears in this area, by the way. That's a Bergen Trail enemy. Being the biggest roadblock that I've come up against so far is absurd when you think about it. I don't know. I wonder if that's going to kind of come up a little bit later, where we find out that the track is more hostile than we actually think. Maybe some sort of reasoning or more sinister aspect comes from Operation Trackwalker or the like, or something from the Ancients that they were doing. Oh, come on. Now, there's no need to swear. Though, I'm going to be honest, when's the last time you heard anybody use bastard as a swear? It's like, not only is that an absurd concept by itself in this modern day and age, it's also... Oh, great. Now we're doing this now. It's also too long of a swear to actually be effective, if you were to ask me. You know what a good swear needs? Single syllable. Nice, easy to say. I'm gonna die. I told you, these enemies are not messing around anymore. So I guess I'll say this. You get a pass this time, CrossCode. But next time, you just wait. Okay, yeah. Wow. Oh, right. Those guys are weak to fire. What am I even thinking? Duh. Stupid. Well, that was my own fault. They're literally called Chillin' Hillcats. Chillin', Illin. The like. Okay. Now that I know what I'm doing here, let's, actually do this. Because the hedgehogs don't have any special resistances, much like Shadow the Hedgehog himself, who is the ultimate life form. So I shouldn't really worry too much about being on one element or another for those guys. I'm going to have to worry a little bit about getting... hit too much. Or hitting enemies too much and getting elemental overload, but that's always a concern of mine. Okay. Their whole thing is that they just do a double dash, as if they were in Mario Kart. Anyway, the damage is pretty severe, and the Hillcats can do a lot of spread with it. Oh, come on. Can we just do this? Okay, well, I don't think the bovines had any special resistances either, so I'm mostly just going to focus on getting rid of the hillcats because, yeah. No explanation required or given. They shoot projectiles from very far away. There's your explanation. You wrung it out of me. Okay. Just trying to get the hillcats, but the other guys are body blocking them down there. Like they are... like the tanks of the party. Really, that's what I guess the hologram rabbit is supposed to be teaching me this entire time. That not only humans can party up, but the flora and fauna have their own MMO parties that they also have. It's a symbiotic, relationship and all that. You understand. The holy trinity of healer, tank, DPS is true even in the animal kingdom. I'm glad that you get a lot of stun time off of the explosion, because otherwise that would be a lot rougher and tougher of an ask to use. And it doesn't even open up the thing. It opens up the way to get to the thing. Well, at least Botanics is going pretty well. That was not what I meant to do. Well, I mean, it was what I meant to do, but it was not a good idea, I guess is the better way to put it. Okay, seems fairly natural what I want to do here. Because there's not only so many places you can move around these blocks with the tracks on the ground. Operation Trackwalker got me once again. And it does seem like probably also going to want to use the natural walls that are already in there to make sure that I have enough space to jumping around. To get up, get down. Jump around like I'm in a house of pain. Which, by the way, kind of like a house of pain. I think they've done some good stuff. Do they reign over the hip-hop scene in, what is it, orange, white, and green? Is that the colors of Ireland? I don't... Oh, no. Well, I'll put it in later if that's not correct. Oh, come on now. Fine Malt lyrics, though? A Fine Malt album. Malt out of 5 stars. There we go. I mean, exploration of this area is also highly dependent on actually following around this rabbit due to the whole deal wherein if I remember correctly, yeah, okay. That did not work at all. This is clearly the strategy that I want to use, though. Are you kidding me? But as it turns out, the game was not kidding me. Okay, I got this. Or I don't. It's fine. Look, it's fine. Oh, what? Man, oh man, why did that, like, take more than one try? Anyway, first off, what I really gotta be doing is, I know that enemies are getting rougher and tougher around here. I need to be using some of the buffs. I mean, sure, it's one of those things like, I don't want to use my limited supply of buffs or whatever, but come on. I have so much money. I am so rich in so many different types of resources. There we go. There's no reason that I need to be stingy. No reason I should be stingy, really. Just gonna get all these guys chilled, and then something Mr. Freeze pun. Yeah, the thing is I also have higher stats when I use the super moves, or when I use my super forms, when I use the elemental forms. There we go, I had it. You just took a second. So I really should be switching up to it when I possibly can. There. Bovines, easy. Anything that uses projectiles, much more difficult for reasons that are unknown even to myself. Anyway, let's get going. Very clever, rabbit. Not clever enough, though. I'll get you one of these days. Ooh, I hate that rabbit, is what I always like saying. No, I don't like saying hedgehog. But I think that's supposed to be a reference to the old Looney Tunes cartoons anyway. Right? I didn't even like The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog all that much. I don't know why I reference it all the time. I was always a bigger fan of Saturday morning Sonic. Can I jump over here? Yeah, I guess I can. I was always a bigger fan of the Saturday morning Sonic cartoon. The one that I guess was more or less based on the comics? I know a lot of people probably prefer like the gag a second type of deal, but nah, it just didn't really work for me. Should probably be doing this. Again, probably one of the reasons why I'm not going to watch that Sonic movie, their new Sonic movie. Among the fact that it looks bad. I will take that opinion to my grave. Looks like a very cookie cutter, you know, E.T. clone type movie that's terrible. And I want this, regardless of how much it dates the episode, to be made absolutely clear. Cool. People will unearth this in 200 years and be like, damn, he was complaining about this character in a movie that we've never heard of. Oh well, it is now part of the holy canon. And it is good to get more information on the satanic figure whom we are all to hate. He known as Sonic T. Hedgehog. Oh yeah, here we go. For some reason I was blind to some... So note to future self, that's 2 cuts. You better have cut that. Oh, you can talk. Yeah, I kind of thought so. All right. And basically the way that you're going to want to be doing this is hitting them through the windows and through the walls. And maybe also should have, like, buffed up even slightly. Yep. This is gonna be kind of a thing, because this guy is no pushover. Anyway, there is, of course... You know what? The chili dog only feels appropriate as of right now. The whale wine is just because I want to. It's also used very quickly. Yeah, I know. Oh, much like the fight against Giant Mettaton. I'm not feeling too confident in this. Oh, boy. Checking and see. Got a fever of 103. Yeah, from what I remember, the gimmick for this thing is that when it goes in that super form and you hit it, it will immediately dash towards you, dealing a decent amount of damage. Which is why you actually have to hit it through the walls this time, like, to forcibly. There. And I think I'm actually just gonna, like, go back into normal mode for a second, mostly for the sake of not dying to elemental overload, which will be a swift and painful death for me. As I'm sure you're well aware. Oh, come on. Like one last second there. Are you kidding me? There, man. Like, I already beat this guy. I don't know why I had to do that again. Got that furry mischief maker. Yep, shaking all over the place. Let's go. And if I were to guess right now, probably immediately going back to the... Oh, yeah, and here's where I would go for the seed. Probably going immediately back to the statue from here. I don't really remember exactly how this land is laid out. I suppose I can just look. Yeah, I think it's down here that I want to get to. And yeah, I've had enough battling for right now. Besides, there's more in the future, especially when I get back to the quests. Maybe the most impressive thing that I've gotten so far. What? Was this considered a dungeon? Gaia's Garden. You know, I guess maybe I could have actually gotten a little bit farther to the west. Although I think that's where Bakikuma actually is. Nothing down here, though. In future content, I suppose. But only one really matters. And considering this is the green element, I think it's a wave coming up next. That's the one that is associated with that color, I think. All right. You suppose, haven't you been watching me this entire time? Yeah, more or less. I think I do want to up some of my equipment before that. And yeah. I mean, you find them pretty much everywhere. In other words, I can't go there myself. And as much as I would like to go and do that right now, no, there's a lot more to be done in this area first. And much like I left everybody waiting to get into Autumn's Fall in the first place and do the whole raid thing, I also have all the quests and treasure chests to do right now as well. There are a lot of quests to be done, but there's one in particular that I want to do first. Back in the dojo, in the basement of it, there was an old man which kind of talked like Discount Yoda that told me to master the elements of heat and cold before talking to him. Well, now that I've got both of those, he's got a quest for me. And it's not the traditional sort of quest. It's actually closer to the cave, the trial caves in Bergen that I did. But still, not only is it a way to kind of show off how much I've learned over the course of the game, or fail entirely, I don't know, both are likely. It also does teach you some unique techniques, which I had people telling me, yeah, you want to check out the dojo for those at some point in time, and I'm going to guess that this is what they're talking about. I'll go VRP first. I guess VPI is a name for melee attacks, but I don't remember anybody else referring to them as that. Well, they're doing it here. All right, let's go. Very similar to the tutorial over on the MF Solar, where Sergey had me doing pretty much the exact same thing. And, you know, I don't need to be too accurate for this. It's not like accounting accuracy yet. It is a series of trials. I can imagine that it would be easier if I really stacked into a lot of focus for this, but it's fine. 10 seconds is actually pretty generous, and I hope I don't fail this now. Okay, good. Yeah, 10 seconds is pretty generous, so it's not too bad. This is a bit more difficult, comparatively. Because ricocheting is not always the easiest thing. I think specifically I want to do it like this. Or a little bit farther over. Come on. Yeah, there you go. It's not difficult, but I do still screw this up pretty frequently nonetheless. At least this stuff is not timed, which works out well for me. There, and one more. Besides, getting level 40 gloves is quite an upgrade compared to what I'm using right now. You know, this one is the one I'm worried about more than anything else. That said, having done it a couple times at this point, including attempting it on stream, has prepared me at least a little bit for it. Well, a little bit. There we go. Hey, there's the magenta walls. Have not seen those for some time. Okay, that'll do one, and then this will be the remaining one. I don't know why I entirely forget how I do. I mean, I just did this like mere hours ago and already forgot how it worked again. There we go. And this one I did, the first time I did it, I didn't even notice you need to hit both 5 times. I just, for some reason, did that anyway without even realizing it. Now, whatever, that's fine, because I can do that very easily. You do lose focus if you're turning around a lot, so you more want to try to predict where these things are going to be. Not that it matters, it doesn't really have any sort of a time limit or anything on it. Much easier that way. Might actually be worth trying to be a little bit hastier in this trial just to make sure that I do have the time for it. But doesn't matter anyway, did it. Yes, yes, yes. It's the melee-focused one this time. Which is, at least, I mean, it's easier because it is just all about learning attack canceling now. Yeah, the classic. Also, I have no idea why they disable guarding right now. It is not going to be... not going to matter at all. This is not like these monitors on hoverboards are going to be attacking me. Not that they don't have that capability, they just choose not to. This is really a lot more generous than you might think. Like 10 seconds You don't necessarily need that to hit every single one of those. Same thing with this one, which is the one I was actually thinking about. I messed this up pretty bad the first time I did it, and still managed to get all of them hit anyway. Oh, there we go. Dash before ending a combo, which would have been useful if I did this whole training thing before going into the next area, but I like keeping the stuff for the end. It doesn't seem like it's a perfect technique in the sense that you do need to actually connect with your hit before dashing. Otherwise, it is more just canceling the attack without getting it in. No problem. I don't really know how they're testing this, because usually dash canceling is something more along the lines of like a glitch that gets ascended into a proper mechanic in the future. But I guess this game was kind of built with that design. I always remember Metal Gear taking out the switching weapons and then grabbing out your rocket launcher to fire off like 5 bolts in a less than 20 seconds. Or what was the actual time for that? I used to know it at some point, for Metal Gear Solid 3 in particular, but I have entirely forgotten now. It was always a very good boss strategy, especially going up against the Shagahad. Alright, give me those sweet, sweet gloves. Never really tried to do proper speedrunning back in the day for that game, but I did play it more than a few times. Okay, first up, Nomsworth. Because every NPC that I'm going to be talking to that has a quest is going to be the ones that I saw when I was doing Autumn's Rise. I mean, it only fits with the theme of this being, the higher level version of the first area you go to. And the thing with the quests in this area is much in the same way that you can't really go about and trivially beat up every single enemy you come across like you could before. Can't really complete all of these quests, by accident like you could with some of the other ones. And not just because Henry isn't here this time. You get all the landmarks and all the items that you need immediately. Ket Dakar is also not here, so they decided to change up how mini-bosses are distributed in a little bit different way, in the sense that half of the quests that I'm going to be doing here will have one of those guys at the end of it. And they are no pushovers. Well, first up, let's grab each one of the quests here and then start doing them. I'm probably going to end up doing Nomsworth first because he has the most difficult one, but everybody's still close enough together that it's not too difficult to at least pick him up. Let's really jam-pack that quest log full of stuff again. All I've had in there was the Talatu Lips quest. It's starting to get lonely. Gotcha. Fire. Well, as it turns out, I just got the element of cold, so it's going to work out well for me. Yes, of course, always. Certainly wouldn't just kill things for the sport, or because I'm bored. So yeah, there's one of the mini-bosses. That just because the other ones don't have mini-bosses, that doesn't mean that they're any easier. In fact, the police quest is one that might end up doing post-commentary. Oh well, let's at least grab it. Hey, Captain Turbine. He was talking about the Salty Sea earlier, and now I finally get to talk to him about more business-related matters. I've been doing that at every single town I've stopped at. Don't accuse me of being lazy about my duties to... Wait, that's not really the point of a seeker. Well, it doesn't matter, I'm doing it anyway. And yes, I think I referenced boats earlier. This was what I was thinking of. So, whoops. I'm entirely forgetting when events happen. I've become unstuck in time, unfortunately. Oh, I didn't even realize you had a quest. Yeah, sure, we don't get Cat and Dakar here, but we get Mystique. Speaking of which, though, I did go back and look at the observatory. I was talking about that a little bit earlier, and it seems like whatever the quest is that Dakar is doing is related to the observatory. Well, it's going to take a while to do then. Level 38, so I guess maybe just the next area. But yeah, if you go back up to the observatory, it says that you have to go find all of the broken pieces of equipment to find those who observe the Watchers. And then I guess fight the optional super boss from the Ice Crown dungeon in World of Warcraft. You know, the one where you fight Yogg-Saron? Oh man, I can't remember its name. It's something the Watcher. Can't remember the name, neither the name of the dungeon. Well, yes. Or that jungle. I mean, the jungle is the next area anyway. I do know that. That's why I got the green seed shade anyway. Can't really go there unless I got Emily in the party. I've entirely forgotten everybody's names. Oh no. It's finally happened. Yo. Maybe of the many quests that I've been doing, Elena has the most... Well, it's more of a continuation of the previous quests than the other ones that I've been doing. Because there's that whole device MacGuffin that we got that hasn't had all of the secrets sussed out from it yet. That was also an area that I didn't really look at when I was going through the regular course of Autumn's Fall, so there'll be a couple new places to go to just getting to that in the first place. I mean, you might remember from the Autumn's Fall area, there was that one place that could also go into Autumn's Rise with the perfectly regular tree in it. Yeah, that's exactly what she said. Okay, with all these done, and one quest that I can't actually get done right now, I think that, yeah, Nomsworth. It's gonna have to be Nomsworth. Because that one is... Ooh, that one is rough. Also requires you to go a little bit more out of the way. Although the police quest does have you going on a boat in the middle of the sea, and as I mentioned before, you're not exactly waterproof, so it's something different. Yes, and with one smile, that just says everything, doesn't it? All right, you. What's up? Yes, and I have been working hard to keep those wheels greased and turning. I'm guessing you're probably not referring to refined metals. Because I do have a lot of those. I got this cool drill that's made out of them, which I can't really use too much anymore because it's too low of a level. It's too bad. But hey, I know that I'm going to be getting an upgrade for that soon enough. Because one of the vendors that was talking about making something real special back in Rookie Harbor. In fact, I think I got the stuff to go get said real special item that he was talking about right now. Creation Gem, which is definitely going to be part of the upgrade for this item. I don't know what vendor is going to be giving me that upgrade, but I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be in the jungle. Yep, there we go. Now, King's Ring is actually one of the many treasures that I'm gonna be finding in the other part of this episode, but it's at least one of the easier treasures to get to. First off, though, no, you know what I need. Yes, I need to just say my name. Look, you're an NPC. You can figure it out. Oh, what machines? Well, they're ones in the dungeon, so... They're ones in the dungeon that formerly held a mini-boss, so... Yeah, this is going to be a rough one. And this is also going to be really a time that I'm going to get a lot of usage out of the many, many foodstuffs and buffs that I've been collecting over time. Thankfully, having done all of the... Nope, not even worrying about it. Thankfully, having done all of the chests before this, I do have some good items kind of up and ready to go. For example, like cheese spätzle, which, oh man, delicious spätzle. I do love it so much. Like whale wine, some of these. Risotto, especially, SP regen. Means I can really spam a lot of the super abilities that I have. Balance is... I don't know if I've actually gotten anything that does balance just yet. But the chests were giving them out pretty freely. Anyway, let's just do this. Hey, you're back. And badder than ever? Oh, you know it. Well, at least the fight starts out mostly the same. Which is to say, I was not very good at this the first time I did it. And now it's of a higher level and rougher and tougher. I did, in the meantime, switch out a lot of the circuits, so at least I should have at least a slightly easier time with the kind of super arts that I have going on. And don't need fire. As you remember, it's like you get fire in this area, so... Trying to... He's not, like, particularly weak to fire, is what I'm saying. By the way, I did just talk about, trying to use a few of my good items that I've now unlocked to... Did just talk about trying to use some of the buff items that I got, and then I didn't use any of them. I've been very terrible about doing that this episode. What's up with that? Ow, ow. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Look, as long as I can get past... Yeah. Because, like, one fire spin takes out a huge amount of these dudes. This, however, is where things start to get a little bit dicey. See that energy? Well... Or enemy heat? Heat energy? I mean, the heat is a type of energy. You don't want that to get too high or too low at any point in time. Or else, well, if you allow it to get too low, he'll pull out the flincers once again. If you allow it to get too high, he goes into, like, overheat mode and starts doing a lot more damage. Okay, this will actually work out fine for me. Now, really make sure that he does not get too hot. It's actually a very inventive type of... boss. I really like it. It's just, it is also quite difficult. Okay, break, that'll work. Nope, 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 not like that. Please heat up a little bit. Just a little bit, though. Yeah, I knew I was going to get hit there, but it was worth it to at least try to get some action going on. This isn't even the final phase just yet. Okay, come on. There we go. That sort of break is exactly what I need. Yeah. This is also a really good time to try to use another one of the sandwiches while he's showing off the super attack that I was talking about earlier. Okay. Switch one of the phases, and then... Yeah, you break him by getting him to switch phases, which is important to remember, because if you don't, you're going to be having something of a hard time beating up this dude. Come on, that should do it. I mean, I'm glad that the second phases don't just have him get broken by getting hit in the back again, because that would have been much more difficult. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't make that one a chest to collect, because otherwise that would really mess up with the totals. You're looking for that thing for days. And these episodes already take long enough to make as it is. Yeah, it wasn't easy. Alright, well, I guess fighting that thing like, what, 5 times at this point did pay off. Didn't even need to buff myself to the gills to make it happen. But still, trust me, first couple times fighting that dude was... I mean, just not knowing that he gets broken by switching phases is... but while hitting the thresholds of the heat kind of screwed me up a lot. Anyway, let's turn this in and then... God, I don't know. I guess probably end up going for the second mini-boss then. Because, well, those are the two things that I did on stream. And if you're sitting here watching this and being like, when are you going to get to the new stuff? It's like, I'll do this one first and then... Yeah. Might also have the last couple chests that I've been looking for, so... Because much like a lot of the other quests, it is in one of those areas where I wasn't really able to get up into here before. Get all up into that cave. So this is a new place to kind of explore. Some of them might have some chests that I otherwise couldn't get. Because I am very close to getting all of them. 23 out of 28, but I've only found 3 golden chests here. 2 are still missing. And I do believe the area I'm going to is right here. Oh boy, and is this a fun area to get into? I mean, I guess in some ways it is kind of nice to see a little bit of reused mechanics I've seen in the past, and in a little bit more inventive way as well. Because unlike the way you're using them in the temple, you never had to drop the ice pucks on top of the... well, so much for that. You never had to drop the ice pucks on top of the water blocks to freeze them. I mean, yeah, I know, it's a pretty minor usage as far as novel usages go, but it is novel. Okay, look, as long as it's not fighting a bunch of the phoenixes, I'm okay. Good dodges, by the way. And also, you can do stuff like this to kind of deal a little bit of extra damage to enemies, or even get them to just hit themselves like that. It's just, well, I'm not going to be doing that. Oh, no. I'm going to be using the super art that I have for my ice abilities right now, because that crushes these guys like few other attacks that I have will. Just having them run into those ice spikes over and over makes a real big difference. And of course, rule of 3s, baby. Even though I think you only fight these guys 2 times. Yeah, we get it. There's a lot of them. Okay. That's probably a good usage of that. Yeah, I'm going to say it was definitely a good usage of that. Great usage, in fact. All right. Always, you can't ever just go to the bosses. You gotta go to the... That was not correct at all. You can't just go to the bosses. You gotta go through a cave of puzzles first, and then fight a boss that has absolutely no business being in this part. Isn't he supposed to be like rampaging through the countryside? How'd you get trapped in this cave? I'm just saying. Tron, get out here and back me up on this. Back me up on this very little sense-making that is happening right now. Now, don't worry, you'll be seeing those guys, my 2 other party members, soon enough, because I did actually have to bring them out for the... For, of all things, the... Oh, wait, no. Some of the chest collection. Yeah, even the chests are starting to get pretty hardcore with how they're working right now. Oh, yes, that's right. Ricochet. Totally forgot. And then really get on the side there. Let's take a lot of damage anyway. It's trying to get you with the steam parts of this, which is, again, not really something you did prior to this point, so that's kind of a novel concept, but a little bit rough nonetheless. Okay, and done. Oh yeah, and this one, which is actually a pretty good puzzle, if I do say so myself. And one more steam bit. Okay. Now, I got a date with one very angry, very fiery cow. And this time I am actually going to be using some of my buffs. Pepper Night Tea, mostly because it's going to be a very long-lasting one. Yeah, what is it, like 50 seconds? I guess that's actually not as much as I thought it would be. Then, I don't know, Cold Platter? It's a pretty big one. Does everything. Can only have 2 foodstuffs on at one point in time, so. All right. Revenge of the Blazing Bowl from Sekiro, Part 2. Which, oh boy, I feel like I'm not the only person that had a lot of trouble with that there boss. So, I like to think that most people can relate. However, unlike the thing with Sekiro, don't have to do a lot of weird ricochet type of stuff to even hit the damn thing in the first place. Well, I say that, but you kind of did, didn't you? Including ice puck related stuff. Ah. Actually, that worked out just fine. Cool. More than anything else, just want to watch out for the... Oh, that was actually pretty good. Yeah, more than anything else, just want to watch out for that. Yep. Okay. So many things to pay attention to right now. All right, there's one. That's not correct at all. Equally, if not more, not correct. Come on, really? Well, you gotta admit that was pretty good. Oh, right, he starts switching up attacks now to do a stomp before running into you, which is kind of rough. Oh, come on. But that doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as you know it's coming. As long as you know it's coming, you can dodge it, but I'm not doing a very good job of showing that off now, am I? Hi. There we go. That should actually do it with the big blasts that I got going on. Cool. Oh. I'm glad that I leveled up and got a little bit new equipment before doing this. I mean, finding all those chests really did make that a lot easier. Unfortunately, didn't find any of the chests that I was looking for, or at least at first glance. So, there's still 2 of them here that are quite the mystery. Also, that was maybe the largest jump that I've seen any one of those things do just yet. Well, let's go turn in that quest, and then I guess the Fall Diver's next, because I do want to leave the police one for the last, because I don't know how that one's gonna go. I'm gonna level with you here. That one is probably going to be post-commentary. Yes, truer words were never spoken. Not that it was really all that worthwhile for just these items, but hey, I'll take whatever I can get. Just gotta go south from here and then to the left, and I'll hit up Pillar Isle and the village remains. And yeah, that'll be that last area will be for later, because it does not have anything to do with any of the quests I'm doing, but it is certainly an area. All right. I mean, yeah, it would just be a little bit confusing if I went down here in the chest part and you didn't actually have any idea what the area was that I was exploring. It's mostly similar to a lot of the other places, except got some pillars. Or at least I thought it did. I mean, yeah, like these ones right here. More of those, more ruins. Like stuff just on top of, I don't know, some very precarious rocks. Natural environs. But nothing very interesting. This is kind of a fun puzzle, but you'll see that soon enough. I guess it's a little bit more ruiny than some of the other areas, but ultimately that didn't matter too much in the landscape of this until you started combing it for the treasures that lie within. This area, on the other hand, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, great for a lot of botany, I'll say that, but also, hey, if there was going to be a parkour quest to be done in this area, it would be with all of this nonsense. That chest especially. Okay, but, you know, again, you'll see it soon enough. Yo. Yeah, if I see you got one of those tutorial robots all set up and ready to go. There's an awful lot of robot-based minigame quests in this game, aren't there? It's beautiful. Ley lines, you call them. I mean, well, that's actually kind of what the track is. I think I've made that observation before. Ridiculous. Just people looking at maps and being all like, hey, there's a lot of roads that lead to this place. Must be magic there. Yeah. Spent all day calibrating it, eh? Well, get ready to spend the rest of the day calibrating it after I smack it with a lot of fireballs. Alright, so it's kind of the strangest version of an escort mission you could possibly have. You spend more time maybe attacking the escort than defending them. Yeah, that's easy. Shoot fire, make go fast. Shoot regular, make go slow. But also make go. Let's go. Okay. I think there's like 3 of them to get to. You know, the old rule of 3s, basically. Okay. Let's get that stabilized, and then, you know, really the things that's been working pretty well against the hedgehogs is just smacking them with the giant ice explosion. That is a very good ability, I gotta say. It can take out a lot of very difficult enemies in one fell swoop, provided that you can hit them. Oh boy, this is going to be troublesome. Can I at least jump over that? Come on. Come on now, work with me here. Yeah. And it's like one more solid hit should get it right in there. Well, not quite. That will do it, though. The problem is that the Chillin' Hillcats do not play nicely with ice. And, well, even if they did, probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference because, you know, they don't really stay still to be hit by a bunch of slow attacks anyway. Oh, right there. Nailed it. Get it good and stabilized immediately, and then that's my ace in the hole for these guys. Works out just fine. Now, this is actually going much better than it did the first time. I do think that just getting even a little bit of upgraded equipment has helped out a lot doing these quests, because I tried them out when I wasn't nearly as well prepared, and let me tell you, they were not as fun. Oh boy. I gotta put these walls here. I always gotta be building walls. Should be breaking them down. Building bridges, getting together. Let's stabilize it first off. And then Well, at least it stabilized the thing, I guess. The ruins are being a little bit more troublesome than... Oh, no, you don't. The ruins are being a little bit more troublesome than, you know, filling me with imagination and wonder, like I think they're supposed to do, or something. Whatever. I'm part of the lore guild. I should be getting interested in that, right? Of course. Attack canceling, helping out quite a bit. At least it's easy to get to. Go and... before anything decides to spawn. Gotta keep that stabilized. Okay, and then fire for the rest of them. And beer for my horses. One more. Easy. Ah, I'd say so. Of course, of course. I told you, nothing is simple anymore. Things are getting more and more complex with each quest I do. And you just had the ability to do that the entire time, eh? Cool, cool, cool. Well, I did get a level out of it, so that's nice at least, but still. All right. This one is, of course, going to be the real test. Yeah, that is very strange. It is just a perfectly regular tree. I guess it's because it's such a large and open area. Makes for a good battle arena. Same deal as before. So, let's go. In other words, there are going to be more spots around here, just in a smaller area. I've actually been taking these guys out well enough that I don't think it's going to be too difficult to do this. Hillcats have usually been the bane of my existence, but yeah, no, it's really not too bad so far. Do want to make sure that I keep those things stable, though. Can't quite use my regular attacks to kill enemies and also stabilize the thing, as I've been doing before. It's one giant ice explosion. That's all you really need, after all. That'll do it, though. Just don't accidentally hit the probe out of there. Oh, crap. Should have been paying more attention. Especially because it's starting to get a little bit rough right now. Come on. Stupid elemental overload. Just gotta get that there. Get that stable, as long as something's not blocking it there. And really just go for a good flamethrower hit. Yes, I know. Just give me 1 second. Ah, damn it. Of course. Come on, there's like 2 enemies left here. Do have to watch out for the uppercuts from them, though, because that is... Oh, or it's done. Great! And of course, there is no like extra information you're getting about what sort of high technology that the Hillcats have or anything, but did you expect anything else? Well, maybe the leader will at least have something to say. And then it's on to manning my own ship. Becoming captain of my own vessel, finally. It's been something I've been looking forward to for years. I assume that the vessel will be as impressive as my wildest dreams. Oh, come on. It's okay, Gene. Alright, last thing left to do, at least until I'm able to get into the jungle and get Mystique's new honey-based steaks ready. I gotta tell you, that's ham? Sure. Steaks? And it is steaks, right? Yeah, I guess. Not the usual type of basting to put on there. Yep, what a beaut. And also, it's the first boss of the game, once again. Well, the first boss that wasn't a giant enemy crab. Gonna send me on literally a big rectangle with a gun on it. Well, hey, at least it's gonna be something a little bit different. More side-scrolling shooter, which is interesting, but also maybe doesn't work as well as you might think it would. Kind of goes part and parcel with having two different games inside of a game. Well, not yet. Let's do this first, for example. Well, wait, what's the chance I'm going to be using a whole lot of... No. Get the attack. That's probably going to be the better buff here. It really is just a rectangle. Okay, so regular attacks for right now. Fire attacks for large groups of enemies, and then ice attacks for just enemies that I want to slow down, I guess. And that would be a good opportunity for those sort of fellows. Of course, switching between all the elements is not really the easiest thing for me to do, I know. But as long as I make sure that none of the turrets are getting through here, I think I'll be fine. Watch out for elemental overload, especially. And then from what I remember, the yellow bullets do stun the cannon for an amount of time. Okay. Get those marked, and then it's also unfortunate that I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything with the... I forgot. Oh yeah, it's the freeze shots that take out... The freeze shots take out the shielded enemies. That's what it was. I thought it slowed them down. I thought we were doing like classic tower defense type of deal here. I suppose that doesn't really matter too much though. As long as I just keep my own shields up. Okay, a little bit of a hit there. Not too bad, though. I am actually just going to dodge that one. Mostly in favor of making sure that Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, it's not great. It'll do it. Just kill the thing that's got the shield on it, man. That's all I ask. Oh man, that is like one hit left. Hooray! That was... if I got to do a second version of that, yeah, might wait a little bit on it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's especially knowing that I probably wasn't going to be surviving for too much longer. Impressive, quote unquote. All right, let's get back up, turn that in, and then there's a couple more quests that I did off screen, as well as a bunch of stuff as far as the chests go, including even more new areas. This time I won't forget to turn this in. All right, let's switch right over into the second part. Starting on the third part of the episode, and not the second part, which I just said for reasons unbeknownst even to myself, back in Bakikum to do some more artisanal drink crafting. The boiler is still in the basement, and although I do have a quest to do right now, there is also, as I expected, some pretty high quality food stuff to be getting out of doing this. Yeah, even past finishing up this quest, I can come back down here and continue creating stuff that will up my attack, defense, health by several parameters. And it's also, on top of that, very quick item to use. I think it's like half a second, and you can get plus 20% health and plus 100% health regen for admittedly a shorter amount of time, but being able to use it that quickly I think will make it definitely an important part of my boss fighting arsenal for the future. Well, for as long as I can stand grinding up the items needed to do this and actually doing the minigame itself. The minigame is not too changed up compared to what you saw before. The only real difference is getting this quality meter, which I think is based on how high you have the overheat meter. The higher you have it, the more quality you get, but the more you run the risk of accidentally having the machine overheat and end your time in the game a little bit early. I think? I don't know, I haven't actually let it do that just yet. I usually get around 5,000, 7,000 quality, at least for the couple times I've done this. And I think it's 1,000 quality points per each drink that you get out of it. So, got 5 whale wine, which is the health-based one, and I think I might have already used in the episode? I don't even remember. The fact that it's used so quickly makes it great for middle-of-fight type of stuff, rather than the, 2-3 seconds that some of the buffs require. Then we got Henry, which, yeah, I was talking earlier, I did kinda totally miss doing this guy's whole thing. And this one is probably one of the more interesting times I've talked to him, because it was the first time that I noticed that he does have a little bit more to say than you can actually see. When he said that he got carried away there, he was still talking, and if you go back in your log, you can see what he was saying. I'm betting that he probably had that for every time that you took his quest, but this was the first time that I noticed it. So yeah, most of the stuff is already finished, but the real prize is figuring this out. Oh, who could have guessed? Henry might be somewhat more malevolent than he was letting on. Not that he was really concealing that at all. At least more suspicious. Well, anyway, I had most of the quest already done, so the only thing left to do was go find the probe, which was, of course, in the dankest, farthest corner of the bone cave that it could possibly be. And if we needed any more confirmation that Henry might not be on the up and up, got a moderator looking at it. And thankfully he doesn't... He's another person that doesn't really realize that I can't talk, so, you know, makes the conversation easy. I mean, the thing's been lying in front of each one of the areas that people have been entering for, what, at least like a week, 2 weeks now? You'd think somebody would have reported that. Oh well, doesn't really matter to me. I'm just here for that sick quest rewards. And that should do it. And even more than that, there is, yeah, even more stuff to see. So I don't really know what the deal with Henry is, but it seems like, looking at his dialogue right now, that he's only got one more probe to throw down, so... Yep, almost done. One more and I'll have them all. So I guess we're going to find out. We're going to have that shoe drop soon enough. So let's get on to the chests. There's a lot of them, and a lot of them are very difficult to get. This first one especially took me far too long to figure out that you can just walk through that area. I mean, in retrospect, it's kind of obvious. It's also one of those things where the perspective, you'd think that Leah could... Does everybody look at this game from this overhead perspective? Because I can't imagine this game working if people didn't. But then again, it's supposed to be like a full sensory experience. Well, anyway. Point is that I was wandering all around trying to figure out how to get over to the gated area that you see immediately on entering Autumn's Rawl. And it's actually just as simple as wandering right behind the scenery. Because it is very easy to see this place. That's the entrance right there. It's no surprise that there is a chest, that there is a bunch of ruins. It's just figuring out how to get here was the real question. And there, I just dipped around real quick to see if I could find where the post that I'm actually trying to hit is. Because it's not directly forward, as I thought. There we go, and the very first chest, of course, was the hardest one to get. Well, hey, at least I got an easy access up here now, or whatever it's worth, which is very little. And I do need more cross sandwiches, so I guess it is worth it. Compared to, you know, getting some of the more common types of, yeah, for example, collectibles like raw meat there. Cross sandwiches, I don't think I have any consistent way of creating myself just yet. Here's another one of the very easy chests to get that you probably saw just running around in the area. And same with this one, which I actually did run right up to and then decided, no, I'm going to save it for later. Same thing with this, which, not the most hidden stuff, but don't worry, they make up for that a little bit later. There was that one area that I said was going to be coming when I was doing the chests, and oh boy, that was one. Light puzzle solving, like I was talking about. Trying to figure out which area you need to get to jump up on top of these walls is kind of the biggest problem when it comes to doing a lot of the puzzles that are required to get some of the chests here. Because the walls are... Some things that you can jump up onto don't really look like it. But hey, again, it's another thing that makes it a lot different from how Autumn's Rise works. Just giving it a little bit of its own identity. The walls running around the area, making parkour a little bit more difficult, but also easier to tell where you're trying to go. Also, that did in fact require a cut, because I completely forgot how to get up on top of this area until I remembered that I actually unlocked a shortcut for it mere seconds ago. Yeah, this is one of those parts that I'm talking about where how do you get up on this wall is the real question. Gotta look for like little inclines, little places where it looks like you can jump up, and that's how you do it. This one too, same thing. As soon as you can find your way up here, it's not super easy. It's very... You'll fall off these walls, at least if you're like me, more often than any sane person. Okay, I assume you're probably not like me and probably had an easier time with it, but man, I don't even want to say how many times I had to cut out trying to get up there. The needle threading is intense. But of course, much like the rabbit fight, same sort of thing applies here, where you're trying to shoot through windows to get just the perfect angle. Nothing is moving around, which makes it at least somewhat easy, but it can be... I think needle threading is the right way to put it. Hey, there's that pepper night tea. Which I also think, much like cross sandwiches, might not be something I can craft right now. Or if I can, I don't know. And then, yeah, it looks like there might be something else in this alcove. There isn't. In fact, that's why I was running back there, to see if I could find anything else. As always, if you see a laser wall, you're going to be finding some sort of chest somewhere around here. And if I knew my physics better, I would realize that I should be going left rather than right if I'm trying to hit that. Okay, but past this point, it's just a quick hop and skip right over to another silver chest. Or cheese spätzle. Actually, that has a green icon on it compared to a lot of the other food, which has other different colors. Apparently that's because it's a backer reward. I don't know who put that in exactly, but I saw a bunch more of it after exploring around in the newly opened up area in Rookie Harbor. Didn't actually recognize any of the people that apparently were big enough backers to get specific food stuff named after them. Well, with the exception of one person, Liam Allen Miller, formerly of the Super Best Friends. It doesn't surprise me at all that dude backed this game, to be honest. Okay, Villa of Terror. This is actually the first time that I've even been in here, so... Yeah, I didn't even realize that there was an area over here. I just saw, keeping on a lookout for stuff, things that I might be able to walk through, was able to find that. And you might have noticed that those bugs are, one, something that hasn't appeared otherwise in this area, and two, didn't really take a whole lot of damage there. This is maybe the 20th attempt I had at this area. Because those guys are rough. Rough enough that, hell yeah, I need a mage. You too. Now, I started this out not wanting to haul these guys in here, but level 55. Level 55, that's... There's no way I was going to be able to do this without having a little bit of backup. I guess, I could have just come back in here later, but... Nah. They're not that bad, after all. I mean, let's be honest. They're just regular enemies. This is like a level 55 boss. Sure. They take so little damage. Every bit of damage that I got off on these guys, I want to say, is mostly due to getting burn on them. Thankfully, they are somewhat susceptible to getting hit with fire. So that was... possible. Hey, finally, level 3 fire attack. And then, my special attack, running away, while I try to avoid getting... I don't even know what a mark is, by the way. That's like wave attacks. Haven't even gotten to that point yet. But, yeah, they have a lot of different attacks based on slowing you down with webs, as well as also... like marking you apparently with something. I don't actually know what it does. And throwing each other at you to do a huge ice explosion. A Villa of Terror. It's a fitting name. Well, anyway, with Emily back, no problem at all. Well, with Emily back and only one character left. Did she have a skill named Falcon Punch? Terrible. There were 6 of them. Now, they were the hardest spiders that I've ever fought, but there weren't that many. Anyway, the prize here. A Portrait of Ruin, which what? Castlevania reference? I guess? I don't know. I should have looked at the actual description of it, but I forgot to. I also forgot to get a lore part of this episode, so doubly my bad. And another bit here where just trying to figure out what you can actually jump on was the hardest bit. To the point that because I didn't realize you could jump up on top of the little chimney-looking wall there, I actually did have to put a cut there because I was wandering around so much just trying to figure out where I could jump up. Oh well, after you find it, it's just a quick run over to get a golden ticket. What? What are these items? I mean, they're probably special items to get something else, but I have no idea what that is just yet. There's still plenty of hubs left to go, as far as I can tell. 2 elements, as well as obviously going to be some more stuff with the meta plot eventually coming up. Well, I've been told that I'm roughly like 50% through the game, which I suppose only makes sense given that 4 elements and all that. And one of the patches that they said was going to be coming out soon enough was one that was going to add a lot more to the final dungeon. I missed a lot of dialogue, didn't I? Alright, a lot more needle threading here. But I don't remember this one being as difficult as some of the ones I had to do. Some of the other ones that I cut around a lot more liberally. So 1 pixel there. Getting it in between, into some of those windows off of a bounce is harder than it looks. Well, at least I managed to get it only after a couple tries there. There were, I feel like compared to a lot of the treasure hunting stuff that I've had, I've been falling off of cliffs a lot more. As much as I am proud of my parkour skills, they sure haven't been serving me well in this episode, is what I'm saying. Oh well, thankfully, with the power of editing a lot, you don't have to see all of that. Just some of it. Saint Celeste. I ain't keeping in all the failures as part of, like, the whole ethos of the game, after all. For a bunch of Wolf Cicada. Great. Certainly don't have enough of those. Oh, yes. And this was actually one that I found after recording all the quests for the episode, because I realized on reviewing this that, yeah, there was this chest up here that I totally missed. Again, more sandwiches, which, since I couldn't get that bag of infinite sandwiches from Bilston, it'll have to do. See the hesitation there? I can't even tell you how many times I failed that jump. That's that whole problem that I'm having with doing a lot of parkour. This one also, very, very bad parkour section for me. I mean, it is a little bit difficult to figure out perspective once again when it comes to, well, the second part of this. I mean, I don't know why I decided to keep in all of this bit, but no, it's right over here. When you get to, yeah, the ruins underneath this part, that's kind of hard to tell that thing that I just jumped on is higher than... I don't even know how to describe it. The perspective is weird. And the first time you're jumping on one of those. I can't disagree. Alright, and then the last little bit here is going back up to the strength puzzle, which apparently Emily also decided to point out. Sure. I feel a little bit more justified in my decision to do that every single time now. But yes, there is... I was originally going to show this off because this is the area that leads over to the eventual raid hub point. But I decided to save it for right now because the only thing to do here, at least for the moment, is just get all of the chests inside this area. And they are some... maybe not involved, but at least not immediately obvious chests compared to... Well, let's be honest, none of the chests in this area have been immediately obvious, except for that, like, the second one that I got. Good old timed parkour. But hey, 2 tries, that's fine. Shrimp risotto is also... I mean, that's something that ups your balance, I think? Which I'm thinking probably going to become more important later on. Especially if I decide to keep using the giant explosion ice attack that I've been using a whole lot. Level 3 version of that is 3 explosions in a row. It's pretty great. You can see the entire gimmick with this room is going all around this entire area, like twice, as you're jumping up on the rocky outcroppings. I was gonna say rocky outbursts, and I'm like, that's not correct. And also some trivial fights. I mean, compared to what I was doing for the quests, this is nothing. Especially now that I have 2 other party members with me. And you could easily tell that there were going to be enemies here. I was preparing for it, but apparently no, not until you try to actually leave. It's like, no, you've got to be tricked by us first. Then you can go. Oh well, the hill cats, especially now that I have something that they are weak to, they're much friendlier. I was saying earlier, bane of my existence, but that's not so much the case anymore. Which I can't say I'm disappointed with. There you go. Of course, 2 party members and all that, too. What is a tremor engine? I have no idea. I mean, for all we know, this could easily be above the lake that we've been seeing. You don't know what happens when you go through a loading screen. So be on the other side of the whole moon. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what is virtual and what is not in the world. Like, the trees, I guess, aren't, but obviously all the animals are, and maybe even some of the areas that you go to. I mean, certainly it would be... You could easily see that being the case, just because... I mean, you see the whole, like, floating in space type of deal whenever you talk to one of the statues, for example. Much like Autumn's Rise. Gotta thread that needle. I mean, you know, the whole underground cave is also very similar to that area, except it's much more fleshed out and actually leads somewhere, rather than just being a simple treasure. Oh, not Hillcats? Well, check this out. Apparently you could freeze things solid, too, which is something that... I think that's the first time that I ever did that. Or at least I haven't seen that one before. There we go. And one more fight arena. And that's the... Well, it's not the final chest, but it's the second to last chest that I'm getting. Boy, things get really crazy when you have 3 people fighting at once, don't they? Thankfully, having other people to distract the enemies just means an easier time for me. I think it's another upgrade that I got. I think at this point, with all of the equipment that I have, I do just kill each one of those seahorses in just one of the ice explosions. The levels that you get out of items, can't be stated enough, really do make a big difference. Oh, this area. Very similar to the Bergen Trail bits where you would jump on top of some of the ice pillars. Although it did take me quite a while, hence the cut there, to figure out exactly where I had to start. There we go. Cold Platter, too, is also a pretty good item to get. That's, I think that's all parameters up like 10%. Not a lot, but hey, for a single piece of food, not bad. And then we actually on the island, which is, I mean, there's only one chest here, but it's the perspective problem once again. Also, the boundaries for the island are a little bit funkier compared to most, so some places it looks like you might not be able to, well, you should be able to go, you can't. I don't know. So here's another very artful cut. As it took me far longer than it probably should have to figure out where the area you were supposed to jump up on is. Yeah, here especially, figuring out that you gotta run right around that is... I mean, there is a chest over here, and it's not too much of a secret, but still. Well, hey, this is the last chest of the episode, so next time, gonna be going into a raid and then hitting up the jungle.